Welcome to SortaOkay Reviews, where every fan is welcome. I'm Nathan Bedard.
I'm Brad Newton.
And today we are reviewing Solo, a Star Wars story.
Solo was directed by Ron Howard and stars Alden Ehrenreich and Emilia Clarke and Donald Glover. So what was the plot of this movie? Give us a synopsis.
Well, Solo is set during an adventure into a dark criminal underworld. Han Solo meets his future co-pilot, Chewbacca, and encounters Lando Calrissian years before joining the rebellion.
So basically, this is just a prequel before Star Wars. So we get to see how all these characters interacted before the original trilogy. So before we get into the movie, I just always like to add that if you enjoy our videos and our reviews, make sure you leave us that like and give us that subscribe. If you want to wait till the end of the video, that's fine too. See if you like our video.
So go subscribe down below.
So what are your overall impressions of this movie?
Well, we had a lot of negative things leading up to this movie. Had some director changes, had some problems, got a trailer late, and I gotta say, I was not going in with super high expectations. Came out of this movie loving it to death.
Yeah, I enjoyed this movie way more than I thought I would. It's a really fun action-adventure movie. It's really high-paced. I mean, there was not really a dull moment in the movie.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people don't like the term fun because it kind of gets used a lot. It's not. This movie is not anything groundbreaking in story. It doesn't do what Last Jedi did in taking some risky chances, but that's okay. I mean, we have this character we've loved for so long. They want a simple story, and we got that. And this movie felt like Star Wars.
Yeah, so let's just go ahead and get into our positives for the movie. To me, I'd say the first positive is the supporting cast. Specifically, you can go ahead and talk about Donald Glover, right?
Yeah, so one of my favorite parts of this movie was, of course, Donald Glover. I feel like you could close your eyes, and you could just see Billy D. Williams.
Well, I think he put his own spin on the character.
I think he did too, as a young version of that character. But I mean, he just embodies that character. I mean, I think he was born to play that character, and he is just so charismatic. He's everything Lando is.
Yeah. And
the interaction between him and Han worked perfectly. I love Lando in this movie.
Yeah, and I would like to talk about Woody Harrelson's character. I enjoy Woody Harrelson a lot. I think he did a good job as being the mentor type character to Han Solo. It's where he learns all of the smuggling game and stuff. So I think he played that role really well as for a new role not really yet seen before in Star Wars. So I really liked his character. So another positive I like to bring out is just the interactions between these smugglers. I mean, as we said, it's kind of predictable how things end up, but I like the heisty style, you're the crew, you're all smugglers in this universe.
Yeah, none of these characters really felt too out of place. All these characters felt like they were meant to be.
Yeah.
And I do gotta say, when it comes down to it, one of the biggest things about this movie, Alden Ehrenreich as Han Solo. I think he nails it. I loved him as Han Solo.
I mean, he's not going to be Harrison Ford, but really who cares?
Yeah, you got to get that out of... people have got to get that out of it. It's not going to be Harrison Ford in that role. It's just not. I think he portrays the character the best absolute way he could. I think he nails the points that Han Solo would go. And I think this Han Solo also needs to be a little bit more open and technically a little bit more nice because he hasn't gone through a lot. He hasn't gone through all of his years yet. He hasn't experienced everything. I mean, he's had a crappy life, but still, he's not at that point yet. And I like what we got with his character.
And then another thing that you wanted to bring up, and I'll talk about briefly, is we get to see Chewbacca and Solo's bond form during this movie.
Yep, It really, I think it was the best way, one of the best ways they could do it. I think it really fit well. I like how they met. I like how their interaction was. And it just really did, that was something I think, I don't care what you say about playing Han Solo. No. I wanted you to hit that connection between him and Chewie. And I think they nail it very, very well.
Yep, Chewbacca was a great addition to this movie. And then the last thing I just wanted to bring up that I really enjoyed is the connections to all the other Star Wars movies. Like, I mean, there's references here and there. It's always nice when, they put those little touches in to connect the movies, since this is technically a prequel.
Yeah. This movie was just it was just so much fun. I mean, it just really felt like a Star Wars movie.
Yeah. And one thing that we did not mention is we did see this in 4DX, so that could kind of influence our review a little bit. But I still think I would have enjoyed this movie without seeing it that way. And as a quick aside, we will be doing a review of our experience for 4DX.
Yes, so make sure you check out for that video pretty soon.
And then, so let's go ahead and get into the negatives for this movie. And the negatives is that it was, as you mentioned to me, was that it was kind of predictable. You kind of know where the story's going to go.
I really felt that towards the end, like the last couple of minutes, I really felt like, okay, who is? Oh, yep, them. Kind of felt, yep, them, yep. But I mean, it really wasn't that big of a deal because, like I said, I mean, I wasn't going into this movie expecting in-depth story, and I wasn't expecting life-altering things, because they can't really change too much about Han Solo. We've already had him, so. I mean, that's it. It was a negative, yes, but it wasn't enough to make me hate this movie at all.
Yep, and besides that, there was a character called L3 in the movie that I thought was supposed to have a more impact, and I just didn't feel that in the movie.
Yeah, and then I think the last one for me was I don't want to spoil it, but it's a certain item, and we see it in this movie, and I feel like it was definitely shoehorned in.
Yep, and then and the last thing, it's not really it could be a negative, it could be a positive depending on your point of view, but it's just this was a very safe movie. Like, they didn't take really a whole lot of risks for like Last Jedi did. They just went, this is your solid Star Wars movie. We're not gonna take any chances, but I mean, I think it worked.
I'm okay with that because you know what? I mean, I would like to see them maybe take a risk with. Like a Boba Fett movie, or maybe something like that. Han Solo, people said they wanted maybe to get a little bit more in depth in his character, but honestly, I kind of was happy about just seeing seeing some of the moments that we've learned of in the prequels.
In this prequel from the original trilogy.
To see how they actually played out, and it was fun, and I like how we're just building more on Star Wars in a beneficial way, and we're adding more great characters.
Expanding the lore.
Yeah, I think I think that the other character, Vess, I think was their name.
The Raiders.
The Raiders, yeah, they actually played a good part. It wasn't like a Captain Phasma where it was like, oh, yep, you're completely useless. No, plays a very good part in this movie and has a very good impact.
Yep, and so with that, are you ready to get into our rankings?
Okay, so the way we do our rankings is we'll start from the bottom. We'll do sorta
awful,
which is an F, sorta bad, which is a D, sorta okay, which is a C, sorta good, which is a B, sorta spectacular, which is an A, and then sorta perfect, which is an A+. Get it on Blu-ray, buy tickets, get a tattoo, I don't know. Do everything to support this movie.
I'm going to give this sort of spectacular. I'm going to give this movie an A.
Same deal.
Yeah, so I think we both agree. It could be because our expectations were actually kind of low going into this movie, and then they exceeded them. So yeah. I was I really enjoyed it and we keep on going back to having fun, but I mean, this action, I felt like we were on this adventure.
I think Disney maybe did something kind of smart here. I think... when we first heard about The Last Jedi, we heard, they were raving about it, and it was crazy. And then turns out a lot of fans didn't like it. And, I mean, before we did this review, I checked on Twitter, and it seems like it's getting a pretty solid reaction to fans. And I think that's because they did, like we said, played a little safe. But I think with Star Wars, you're allowed to do that as many times as you want. Maybe every now and then do something a little crazy. But... I think Disney did a smart deal here with just making this a fun, action-filled summer adventure movie. And I think also another slight thing, I think this is good for kids. Kids who didn't get to grow up with the original Han Solo, they can grow up with this Han Solo. I'd rather have them grow up with this Han Solo than nothing at all.
Yeah. So I think that's going to do it for our review of Solo.
Yep. We enjoyed doing this review. We can't wait to see the movie again. We hope you enjoyed this review. We hope you found it helpful. And don't forget, once we hit 50 subscribers, we'll be doing a giveaway for a free Amazon gift card for $20 worth of value. So make sure you hit that subscribe button.
And as always, you can hit that subscribe button right there. It'll pop up on the screen. We'll have another movie review right here.
That's going to do it for us. We thank you very much for coming, and we hope you have a good day.